A bunch of cheap, interchangeable, expendable, useless women.
Yeah, this is kind of rude and terrible and brutally honest what I'm saying, but it's going to help us all in the long run.
We got so much hate, like...
Welcome everyone to Ring the Bell. This is Diaz.
And the Sriracha Muchacha, Paloma Star.
And we are here with the Tea Master, Logan's ass.
Yes, I'm back.
We are here for the second part of the news and rumor because there's so much tea. Everyone would have been like drenched from the last one, so we just divided this so that you can like take a breath. Let's talk about Sarah Logan. We've been talking about her for a couple of weeks since she was released. There was a lot of rumors saying that WWE is trying to bring her back. She's around Florida waiting for WWE's call. She just uploaded this Instagram post with a shot of her last WWE appearance being destroyed by Shayna Baszler. And she wrote, "Never again."
Interesting. I don't know. Like, what does that mean? Never again, meaning like she's going to come back and that's never going to happen with Shayna again? Or I'm not going to work there again?
I think second.
She's done.
I also think she's just that they're just doing it for us to talk about it. You know, like, or get the plot rolling one way or the other. I don't know. I think a lot of times, a lot of things that people like say are obviously for a reason, or like tweet or post on Instagram or anything like that.
Hey, she's a Viking. She does not care about social media engagement, okay?
She doesn't even own a computer. She don't even have a phone.
I think even if she comes back, just the whole like Viking character, for me, it kind of destined to be in a mid card, but she's been champion on indie scenes. She was doing very good on the indie scenes, right?
Yeah, very good. Even as her character before in the indie scene was a little bit more attention grabbing, or you could see more being as a main eventer as opposed to being a Viking.
So I'm wishing that she can just find a promotion that will treat her like the Viking queen she is, not a jobber or a mid-card star. And there's another Instagram post that grabbed our attention, and it's from Alicia Fox. This week is Alicia Fox's 14-year anniversary to wrestling business.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't realize she was wrestling for 14 years. Oh my god.
So I'm gonna read this and bear with me. The way that Alicia just writes on Instagram is quite interesting. WWE showed me there was a way to learn to hashtag beyond self, protect yourself. It's a hashtag lonely road for a wicked soul. Okay, I didn't get it, but it found me. WWE legend, above all. Like it or not, 14 straight real work hashtag marks, cheap talk, roll call, calling you out. And the journey made me stand tall for that chapter, the next main event. Like I'll tell ya now, didn't I say I'm no greenhorn rookie? Hashtag. They were right, and I'm back where I started. Hashtag real work. Hashtag alchemy.
No wonder you said that she writes a certain way on Instagram. That would have been really hard to read out loud.
I must say, though, you read it just how Alicia would have said it. Like, she would have performed it. So I was like, that's good. That's an A for me.
What do you think she's talking about?
I have no idea.
It could be anything.
I have no idea.
I think she's talking about a potential return, possibly, because she's talking about how she's going to be back where she started. So maybe she'll go back to NXT or something. I don't know. Like, I'm just like trying to come up with what she's talking about.
You forgot the hashtag.
If she comes back, what do we want to see from Alicia Fox in wrestling?
More. Like, her run in wrestling it was kind of mediocre. It's kind of like middle card, really. The kooky character really never landed, or it really like never did much, really. I think she had the captain of Survivor Series, and then they tried to spread that on where her wearing that captain hat forever, and like no one cared after a while. It was just like, and I love Alicia Fox. Like her time on Total Divas, we really got to know who she was, the real Alicia. She's very like agile and really tall and like limber and stuff like that. So I feel like she could do a lot in the ring if she has it in her. So I feel like we could get some really cool matches from her if we maybe change up the character a little bit.
I also think that it kind of was a detriment to her at the time that she came into WWE 14 years ago. Back then, they were getting 2-3 minute matches. Like, how much can you really learn and improve as a wrestler if you're only getting 2-3 minutes to show? It's not her fault that she basically got brought in at a time that women's wrestling wasn't at its finest or as held as a high standard as it is now. So I hope when she does come back, I hope she gets the time to really perfect her craft. And her scissors kick that she has is a thing
really
of
good,
beauty.
yeah.
When she comes back, she really took the time to step it up even more, because she definitely has potential.
People like Gail, Kim, and Melina, they love talking about how Alicia Fox was so great in the ring. I just unfortunately don't think she ever had a chance to show it. Her championship reign, yes, she was Divas champion, but she had no build, she had no storyline, and she just basically lost it to Melina right away. And even though her moves are so just beautiful, she just never had a consistent character or storyline to show what she can do, or just like a serious match in general. And I think this is similar with Naomi. Naomi's great, she's so athletic, but she just never had the serious feud or match to show their full potential. So if Alicia Fox come back, maybe if she can get like a good storyline, maybe if she can go back to NXT or even AEW where she can get like more athletic matches that she can show her wrestling skills, because we know that she's super fun as a character.
She just gets overshadowed, like with what she does, and she hasn't had the right push yet. It also crossed my mind too, if they do another Mae Young Classic, she'd be great for that too.
Oh, totally. Oh, that's a good one.
Redemption story, like that'd be really good.
If that's what she's talking about, like I'm back at square one, like let her do the Mae Young Classic. Because they had Caitlyn do it, right? The last one. So if we're getting, old divas or old superstars to do it, like I think Alicia should be great for it.
So this week, Bella Twins' new book is out. It's all about their life before WWE and throughout WWE, and apparently there's so much tea. Everyone's talking about it. One really caught the eyes of everyone on Twitter. She was talking about what happened during the Total Divas Pipebomb segment. It's a very famous segment where AJ Lee basically buried the entire division by calling them, "You got this job because you have that boyfriend, blah, blah, blah. Natalia, you're only here because of family name." She insulted every single one of them. It was explosive. She put that mic down and she walked away. This is what Nikki Bella said about the whole situation. She used the time to go on and on about herself and our daddy issue. All of the Total Divas were furious in the moment because it was exact reason why women weren't doing well in WWE. It was far too typical of how things went down. One woman wanting to outshine everyone else instead of connecting with the other wrestlers and the story we were set to do together. She was going into business by herself, which ruins any chance of building something as a team. If they had known, Natty and Brie would have wrestled for the full 4 minutes and cut her out. Backstage, Brie pulled her aside and said, "We're all in this together. You can have jealousy, you can have dislike, but the only way this division is going to grow is if we connect and put that other stuff aside. We have to stop stabbing each other in the back." Okay, what do we think?
Mic drop. Boom. That's some serious tea that Nikki spilled. Really, and it's in the book, which is funny because like I was telling DS earlier, I was just like, didn't this book just like come out? Just come out today. Obviously, I'm Team Bella, but I don't know. It's a little selfish. I want to know AJ's side more. I hope she has something to say about this. It sounded like they wanted everything to be more so about them and not like elevate everyone as a division and just elevate yourself. Like, like when people like have to put people down to elevate themselves, that's where I feel like it kind of gets a little selfish.
Just to clear it up, they're talking about the promo that AJ did. Yeah. Right? So I would totally be on Nikki's side and the Bella's side if there wasn't produced that way. It's not like AJ Lee came out and be like, "Yo, let me cut off this girl's match and give me a whole minute to talk to myself." Like, it's not AJ Lee's fault. It's the producers, agent, booker, what everybody else's fault. It's not like AJ Lee's like, "Give me the mic. I'm gonna cut a promo right now. Dogging on everybody. Screw them. I don't care about their match." Like, it was just shitty booking. I get why they could go after AJ Lee personally, but I don't think it was her fault. Like, it was just shitty booking, like how it was back in the day where women didn't get enough time as it is. So in order for her to do her promo, they unfortunately had to cut time off of other women's matches, which of course it should have been any other match as it is. For them to come off to her personally like that and say that she was like selfish over something that she couldn't control. Like, I'm sure there's some like reason why they feel that way, but how are you going to get mad over AJ for cutting a promo that she was told to cut?
So here's more context to what happened. So AJ actually did talk about this whole situation before, around the time that her book was out. So this is what she said. Vince McMahon came up to AJ at Raw and he asked her, "So you don't want to be on Total Divas?"
They asked me if I wanted to do it, and they were like, "Here's like 7 storylines that you can pick from for the show." I was like, "There's storylines in a reality show?" So I didn't know like what was happening, and I was just like, "No, thank you." Like it was just odd to represent a real version of myself that had storylines and was And also, like, I don't share. Like, I'm an introvert. I'm shy. And so I said no, and I think that I didn't realize how, like, offensive that would be. And I think Vince McMahon got a kick out of that because, you know, people kind of jump at those opportunities.
And then he said, okay, well, tell us why today on Raw. Basically, AJ just got the live mic and nobody else knew about the whole situation other than Vince. After this whole situation, the whole drama happened, AJ said,
I'm super quiet and not a troublemaker. And so every time I go out, I turn, you know, into this kind of douchey, you know, jerk. And it's so different. And I hope you look and tell the difference between what is necessary for us. It's like taking your medicine. No one wants to take your medicine. It tastes disgusting, but it's going to make you feel better. So, like, yeah, this is kind of rude and terrible and brutally honest what I'm saying, but it's going to help us all in the long run. Yeah. Is kind of how I saw it. And it really did for a while, and I think it could have been much better if the professionalism surrounding it backstage was a little bit more, just a little bit better. And okay, let's move forward with this, you know? So it was a little disappointing. I really wish we had done a little bit more with that, but I think it wasn't in order to keep everyone happy. Right.
So I think what she's saying is that she cut that promo by herself because Vince gave her the mic. Obviously, the Total Divas cast did not like it, so they were in plans for expanding that storyline into something, but that storyline was dropped.
Probably for good reason. Sounds like it was getting too personal.
When I actually first watched that whole segment, I thought it was really like explosive. And obviously internet was going wild about it. People to this date is talking about it. And what I thought was interesting was that they are talking about Total Divas, which is a show about real life. So I thought it was kind of genius to have this pipe bomb type of promo which draws in the real life issue. So I did think it was interesting, and I thought this was going in a way where the heel champion, the top heel, is putting the girls down, and then the girls are going to eventually win, prove her and the audience that they are here to stay and they have talent. I thought that was where the storyline was going to go, so I was very excited, but obviously the storyline didn't go anywhere. It was just completely dropped.
Beef.
I mean, it just sounds like they took it way too personal, quite honestly. I mean, I'm sure, nobody, AJ leaves, I guess, right on that. Nobody really wants to hear that. And then as on the receiving end, nobody wants to hear that either. Like, people are just getting their feelings hurt, in my opinion. I mean, I don't know, I could be wrong, but at least what it seems like is that people are just getting their feelings hurt, or people took it too personally, or people took it too hard. But
Logan, do you think if this storyline actually like panned out, do you think it would have been okay?
Like, audience, I think we would have loved it as fans. I'm sure. I just don't think that would have been like probably the most professional work environment after that.
Yeah.
If you're now bringing in, you give the mic to AJ and tell her to say these things, and it sounded like maybe she did mean these things, and these are things that she actually thought about the actual cast of Total Divas. It just sounded like it was going to get messy backstage, really.
Oh, yeah.
Especially like when there's tea and when you want to confront somebody. Clearly, Bree's already going up to her, telling her blah blah blah. So I just think to watch it would have been great, but I feel like to deal with backstage it would have been a little messy.
I think this is another case of communications. I mean, AJ, I see where your head is at. I mean, bringing the real life stuff, it's a trendy thing. CM Punk did it, was great. But the thing is, if you're going to bring up those matters on TV, you should probably ask them if they're okay with it.
I think that's another thing, yeah.
Or go afterwards. Go up to them afterwards and be like, hey, I was just like working it, or, like something.
Be professional, yeah. Just be like, yo, Vince told me to do this, and this is what I said. Yeah.
Also, don't act like they wouldn't have done the same thing. What are they going to say? No, Vince, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Oh, yeah,
no.
Nikki and Brie would have been.
They would have done it too.
I just feel like there should have been more sisterhood, and they should have talked about what was going to happen, and then no one would have been surprised or anything. But again, like reading some of the stuff from that book, it seems like the backstage was super competitive. I read some parts about where other girls told Bella Twins the wrong call time, so they missed the whole like meeting. I'm glad that things are better now. There's more room for everyone to shine, then they're helping each other. So it's a better culture, it seems like.
The Divas era sounded very catty. Like
for sure. And I think everybody,
like there was a lot of competition.
And because there was so many few spots that everybody was thinking that they were going to take your spot, and you had to be catty and like survive and like dog eat dog world I can't even say that. Dog eat dog world.
Right. I mean, drag queens do it. We do that shit all the time to each other too. So it's just like, yeah, it needs to stop. And I like that there's a better camaraderie now, and the division is more willing to uplift each other. And if that means that most of the cast of Total Divas is now out of the picture for that to happen, then that's what needed to happen. Although I do love the Bell Twins, and I did love AJ Lee, but
that's the thing. I stand both of them, so I could see both sides of the situation. But again, communication is the key to this.
The Bella Twins released their new book, and y'all, they spill all the tea about WWE. Normally, WWE books are a bit scaled back and seem corporate. This is doing a tell-all, and they're telling all about how the Royal Rumble was getting trashed by the men. They didn't want the first Women's Royal Rumble to be the main event. They wanted them to change the finish to the Royal Rumble. What do you think of all of this?
I mean, it's not surprising when there are people rioting in the streets because they can't get a haircut. It's not surprising that men would be like, we're the men. We should always be main event. We should always get the finish we want. Women come second.
I'm laughing because it's true, and I just don't understand why that mentality is a thing. Like, if you're the biggest draw, go out and put on a show. I don't understand. At that point in time, the men's Royal Rumble match didn't need to be a main event or anywhere even close to the main event. No one cared.
And the fact that we're getting that, I believe it was Brie Bella was writing, or whoever was writing, the men were petitioning for the ending to change because they wanted that ending. Like, did you have Asuka, who was undefeated? Like, how the F did you want that freaking ending? You guys didn't have a star that was undefeated that is at the same level as Asuka. So why the F are you wanting that freaking meeting? And not only that, aside from the pressure that this was the first ever Women's Rumble that was also going to main event, imagine all the pressure all 30 of those women were already under. You're going to put this added little bit that you're going to make the women, the two women, Asuka and Brie Bella, drive all the way back to a freaking hotel that was 20 minutes away, practice for maybe 20 minutes, and then drive all the way back and be ring ready. Like, I think it's bullshit.
Well, also in the book, Nikki mentions that they wanted to create an environment where it looked like Nikki could beat Asuka because she was coming in as, like, you know, the starlet. She's famous all over the world. So it was really going to be like, oh, are they going to let Nikki Bella have it? Which is totally believable. To tell you the truth, I can't remember a men's storyline in recent memory with any Royal Rumble or even like a world title picture where it's like, oh, you've got an undefeated beast literally going against the biggest star in the world. I can't remember the last time that's ever happened.
So the only time I can think of something of that level in recent years is when Edge returned, but he wasn't there as a brand new wrestler that is undefeated and has a streak. So the Bellas, you kind of think of them almost as under WWE's thumb and doing only what pleases them because they have a good rapport with them and they probably want to stay in good graces with them. And I think it's amazing that these ladies who are still working with them, like in Total Divas and Total Bellas, like they're willing to be like, sometimes you guys are douchebags and we're going to let the world know.
Nobody loves their job 100% of the time, and a lot of people's bosses suck. So it's very much, you know, a real perspective into what it's like, you know, being the Bella Twins. So I'm really looking forward to actually reading into this book more.
So there is a sort of air or thought process that pre the Four Horsewomen, women's wrestling wasn't as big because women's wrestlers weren't as good. But I think we start to see this glimpse. It started when Brie Bella was talking to Mick Foley and said she almost wishes she was in NXT because NXT women get so much longer matches. And now what we're seeing with Nikki and Brie writing in this book is it's not necessarily that the women now are more talented. They might be, but it's not necessarily that. It's that they were continuously shoved into these situations where women were seen to be lesser than, so they got less time, they got less storytelling, they got less time with coaches because at that time when they were prevalent in the business. It was all about the men.
And they just didn't look at him as a marketable aspect, which is, you know, all the billionaires like the McMahon family want to look at is bottom line dollar profit. And they're like, oh, the women only need to be here so sex appeal comes in. What you fail to realize is there's so many people that are invested in these people, and these women coming into the ring because, like I said, they're people. You know, it doesn't matter what gender someone is. If you step in the ring, you put on a compelling story, you're going to win over that crowd and you're going to have people love you. And I don't understand why that was a concept that took so long to grasp.
I'm really interested in seeing what other little tea, I take my tea with lemon, will come out.
Thank you so much for joining in for another episode of News and Rumor. Where can we find you, Logan?
You can find me on Instagram at LoganZass. It's LoganZass.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Paloma Star.
And you can find me at DS and Ring the Bell DS on Twitter. And tune in this Sunday for the Money in the Bank watch party. All right, bye.